They teach you about the forts, but they never teach you about the prison beneath them. The year was 1505. They did not come for peace. They came for spice, especially for one thing: Ceylon cinnamon, the most valuable spice on earth. And Portugal became greedy. To control the spice, they needed to control the land. To control the land, they built a fortress. And inside that fortress, they built hell. Galle. Today, you see a beautiful tourist city. But 500 years ago, Galle was a very important place in the world. Why? This is the Silk Route. For hundreds of years, ships carried spices, silk, and jewels from China to Persia, to Arabia, to Europe. And every single ship had to stop at one place. A natural harbor, safe from storms, deep water. That place was Galle. For the world, Galle was the gate to East. The year is 1505. The Portuguese came through this gate. The Portuguese were the first European nation who came to Galle. But they did not come only for trade. The first thing they did was take control of the harbor. Right next to the sea, they built a small fort. It was not made of stone. It was made of coconut tree logs, mud, and wood. It was a temporary fort. They called it Fortaleza. Fortaleza, the fortress. But for the people of Galle, it had another name. The Portuguese wanted a bigger, stronger fort. But who would build it? Not the Portuguese soldiers. They brought slaves. Hundreds of Sinhalese people captured from villages, and African slaves brought on ships from Mozambique. They worked from morning to night, in the hot sun, with no water, with no rest. If you stopped, the whip. If you fell, death. This was not a normal fort. Inside, there were large forges for making weapons, for making cannonballs. Day and night, the fire was burning. The smoke from the forges, it had no place to go. It covered the walls, it covered the ceiling, everything became black. And then the cannons. Every time they fired a cannon, more black smoke. The smoke from forges, the smoke from the cannons, it painted the whole black fort. So, the people gave it a new name. They did not call it Fortaleza anymore. They worked at black walls, the black smoke, the black history. And they called it Kalukotua, the Black Fort. A name from fear, a name from pain, a name from smoke. They say, if you touch the walls of the Black Fort, even today, you can still smell the smoke. The year 1640. New ships, new flags, new devils. The Dutch, they came to Galle, they fought the Portuguese, and they won. The Portuguese were gone, but the Black Fort, it stayed. The first thing the Dutch did, erase history. They collected every Portuguese record, every map, every letter, every proof of what happened here. And they burned it all. Why? Because they wanted to write their own history. The story where they were the heroes, not the next monsters. But the Dutch, they were builders. They looked at the small, dirty Kalukotu, and they had a bigger plan. They used their own slaves, they used local workers, and they built a new fort, a giant fort. They built the Galle fort you see today. The walls, the bastions, the streets inside. They designed it after their own city in Holland, Falsen. A perfect copy in the middle of Ceylon. And Galle became their main city, their capital of power. But a perfect fort needs a perfect secret. The Dutch engineers, they designed the walls, the tunnels, the weak points. They knew if an enemy gets these plans, the fort can fall. So what did they do to the workers? The men who built it with their own hands. They never went home. The Dutch locked them deep underground, in prison cells below the fort, to make sure the secrets of Galle Fort died with them. And the heart of this new Dutch prison was still the old Black Fort, Kalukotu. The Dutch made it bigger, they made it stronger, but they could not wash away the black. The smoke from their cannons, it kept the walls dark. It was still a hell, just with a new honor. 150 years of Dutch rule. Then 1796. New ships again, a new flag, the British. They didn't even have to fight. The Dutch, they just gave Galle Fort away. The third master of the Black Fort had arrived. And what did the British do with this 300-year-old hell? They made it official. They cleaned the blood, they painted some walls, and inside the darkest part, inside Kalukotu, they opened Sri Lanka's first ever police station to protect and serve in a place built on pain. The prison became a police station, but was it really any different? Today, Galle Fort is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Every single day, thousands of tourists come here. They take beautiful photos. They snap selfies. They sip coffee in the cafes. But beneath the stones you are walking on, there's another story. A black story written in blood, sweat and tears. The same place where you smile for your selfies today is where men once died as slaves. Galle Fort is beautiful, yes. But even today, its stones still smell of smoke.